Warning. Listening to this show may result in increased levels of inspiration, motivation, and innovation. Side effects can include the immediate urge to take massive action to build a better business and life for yourself and others. You've been warned. Welcome to Influencers Radio with your host, Jack Mize.
And welcome back to another episode of Influencers Radio. There's an old saying, and I'll paraphrase it a bit. Every man, woman, every person is my superior and my teacher in that I can learn from them. And I think we're living in a day and age with the reach and technology of the internet, online, social media, that people are able to share what they know. And most people know more than they think they know. And it's just a perfect opportunity for people to do exactly that by coaching, consulting, because people are constantly looking for information. They want to know how to do things. They want to know how to better their lives. They want to know how to better their business. And they are seeking that information. And if you have that information and you're able to help people, then you need to get it out there. And today, my guest helps people do exactly that. She is an international business coach with an MBA in marketing. She's also the founder of multiple business programs, including Brand Your Passions, From Passion to Profits, and the Powerhouse Coach. She specializes in helping passion-driven women bring their skills to the world and launch an thriving online coaching businesses with international reach. So, please welcome to Influencers Radio, Carolin Soldo. Carolin, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here. So many people have a passion around a topic, whether it be health, fitness, life coaching, business, but they may not know how to get it out there to turn it into a business for themselves. They have the knowledge, they have the ability to help so many people, but they need help in putting that together as a business. And I know that that's what you are really good at. So let's jump in right there. What do you see as some of the biggest opportunities in coaching out there, and what do you see as the obstacles that are preventing people from moving to that into a real feasible business model?
Yeah, I would say the coaching industry is one of the biggest opportunities for men and women nowadays with the internet and with how the market is growing, to make money and make a great living and really do work that is very satisfying, because we get to help people, live better lives, become healthier, have better relationships, make more money. And it's a very satisfying type of work for your soul, but also for your bank account, because you can charge, if you know how to really monetize your skills and passions, you can charge a good deal of money because you're a great problem solver for people out there. And it's becoming more and more mainstream. So it's very known to people that we can hire a coach for our relationships, our business, our careers. There's executive coaches out there. So it's becoming much more known. People know about coaching. They want to be coached. They reach out for coaches. So there's demand. It's a great business model, and it's very satisfying. So there's lots of opportunity on both sides. Now, the biggest issues that we see right in the beginning with men and women is that many people believe that they do not have the expertise, they do not have the authority and the positioning, and they do not have anything to sell. It's that thought of, oh, who would buy from me? Am I good enough? Do I have enough experience? So it's in the beginning really a mindset game in understanding how to brand, how to position, and how to really, package your expertise into something that is sellable. But once you've got that, once you understand what your credibility markers are and how you can package your expertise, then, it's really all about the business foundation. And that's where we come in really, and we help our clients succeed.
Now, you mentioned something there, credibility markers. And I think that's a big issue for a lot of people that they recognize that they have an ability, they have great information, or they have the ability to help people and change lives. But just like you said, they have that fear of, well, who's going to listen to me? Why would someone want to buy something from me? Can you dig into that a little bit and explain credibility markers?
Absolutely, yeah. So when we start to work with our clients, we help them really see themselves as experts. And there's a big myth out there that says, you have to have 10, 20, 30 years of experience, and you have to have 5 books under your belt to actually be an expert and call yourself an expert. But what we see is that once people realize what their credibility is based upon, their markers, they can position themselves as experts within months. I had a client last year. She had a 15-year-long HR career, very successful, and we used her HR experience, so her actual work experience, to position herself as a career coach very quickly. And within about 4 months, she was able to start to make great money in her business. She's earning between $10,000 and $20,000 a month, selling some very, successful, very effective career coaching programs. And now she's out there impacting the world and helping other people, make their lives better and have better careers. So with Cindy, just as an example here, we looked for her credibility markers in her work experience, a long-standing successful career. And we really looked at that and looked at what were her specific turning points and what made her such a good HR professional. Now, some people may say, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, or I really have not had a successful career. Maybe I'm not an expert then. Well, if that's not something that you can bring to the table, you may have had some very dramatic or powerful life experiences. And that's what we see with many people in either relationship coaching or health coaching. There's people and many women and men out there who have lost a ton of weight. They have overcome cancer. They have been able to overcome some very, important or serious illnesses. And that personal experience can be packaged into a system and in a way that these people can then use and help other people have similar results. The personal life experience is something that can also be a very important credibility marker. If I go out there and I tell people about my personal health story, they might say, oh my God, that's how I feel. I want to have the same results. And this person has been there. They have achieved that. So I'm pretty sure that this person can help me do that too. There is also schooling. That is another credibility marker. If you have, I have a copy coach on my team, and she has graduated from Harvard 2 times. She is a certified coach. She's won several different awards, but she has all these letters after her name. So she has schooling and certifications, and that obviously shows people that you have, credibility, the know-how, the knowledge, you've studied the topic, and you can teach and coach. And then we have books, if you've written a book, if you have had media exposure, if you've been on radio shows, on TV, publicity, you've been writing articles. Those pieces can also show that the world is actually listening to you and they want to hear what you have to say, and that builds up your credibility too. Now, with all of that, we want actual figures and facts as much as possible. So when you bring forth these credibility pieces and these stories, you want to support them with actual achievements. So you've been able to lose a certain number of pounds. You've been able to turn your business around and make a certain number of money, make more money. But percentages are great. But it doesn't always have to be like that. It could be emotional breakthroughs too. It could be, how you felt before and after. It could be mindset, a whole new perspective on life, for example. So whenever you have, you look back on your past and you pull out these credibility markers, you want to make sure you can support them with facts, figures, emotions, mindset breakthroughs, and those kinds of things. And that forms your story. And that gives you confidence where you say, hey, maybe I am an expert. I've done some pretty cool stuff. I've accomplished some amazing things in life. And I can go forth and I can help other people do these things too.
And, I think you struck a chord with a lot of folks there because I've interviewed a lot of people, and it's amazing to me how many people don't recognize or neglect the really cool things that they have done that they think is just kind of, I never really thought about that. And so many people think that to be a successful coach, you have to have, done something to make $1 million overnight. But you said something that coaching may not necessarily be by, creating a success. It could be that you overcame something, right? To use as a credibility marker. And I know that you're not shy about telling your story, that's kind of part of the path that you came through. So I want you to kind of spotlight the fact that overcoming failures or having gone through failures or gone through struggles is something that a lot of people are interested in learning about, so they can help them either get through it and know they're not alone, or to help them overcome it themselves, right?
I mean, I'm open about my past, and I've had a really big health transformation. I've also immigrated to the country. I came here from Germany in 2001. So I've in the beginning, I didn't make a whole lot of money at all. I had no money. So people know very much about my past and, the things that I struggled and overcame. And that's sort of like a hero story, so look back, maybe you've gone through a divorce, maybe you've been on welfare and now you own a business. I mean, it doesn't matter, but these things are, accomplishments. And the other thing is people start to relate to you because they will feel like, she's been in my shoes, or he's been in my shoes. And, maybe you haven't made $1 million yet, but you have the same sort of, struggle in your past that makes you very relatable, that makes you very authentic, that makes you approachable and maybe likable to people. And they feel like you know exactly what they're going through, and they will start to trust you and want to work with you for that reason as well.
Let's talk about influence for a moment, because you certainly have a talent for helping people, I guess, be seen or be able to be put out there as an influencer. And it's not an easy thing to do, because a lot of people think to be an influencer, to be an expert, that they need to go out there and start talking about themselves and their qualifications. But to go from someone that may think that, who's going to listen to me, to actually being an influencer. And when I think of influencers, it's someone that people listen to and look at as an educator and an advocate for their success. That's got to be a huge mindset shift for people, to go from who would listen to me to actually speaking with that confidence and authority as an influencer. What does that path look like in overcoming that obstacle?
I think it's a mindset shift. In the beginning, people always think about themselves. Oh my God, what if they don't like me? And what am I going to say? And what if I stumble over my words? And what if I make a fool out of myself? But when you shift your mindset from making it all about yourself to making it about the people you want to serve. And I think this applies to any industry, because we're there to be serving people in many different ways, whether we have a product, whether we have a service to offer, it doesn't matter. But I see myself as someone that is always of service. So it's not really about myself and what I look like or what I say so much. It's about how can I emotionally connect with the people out there, and how can I solve problems for them. So if I want to influence someone, I want to make sure that I can emotionally connect with that person. And that can only happen if I really understand them and their goals and their fears and their concerns. And I can speak to their goals and their concerns. And I really know what they need and how I can hit on those pain points and those desires. So when you look at branding out there and how people position themselves, you see that the most successful brands are actually using what I call lifestyle branding. And it's a term that's out there and it's used all the time. But when you position or show or talk to someone about your product, yes, it is about the features and what the product does and everything, but it's much more about helping that person, that consumer, that audience understand how they will feel and live and act, and who they will ultimately be once they buy and consume your product or service. So to give you an example, a sunscreen, for example, if I'm a manufacturer of a sunscreen, I would not be going out there telling people all the different chemicals that are in my sunscreen and what the color is and how it smells. Maybe that's important, but what my consumer wants to know is how much they can enjoy life on the beach and let go of stress and, be with their significant other and have fun and look great and be confident when they use that sunscreen, when they're rubbing it on. So we're creating that emotional connection, right? So, for my brand, I do marketing and branding and packaging and, online advertising. But what I talk about much more than anything is my mission, which is to support men and women to live a great life, to have freedom, to have financial independence, to do things that light them up every single day. So I describe a certain lifestyle and a certain way of being much more than I talk about what I actually do with people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you paint a picture and of what the result. I guess it's more about focusing on the result that they would get from your coaching than the actual mechanics of the coaching. Would that be the good way to characterize it?
Absolutely. And then just making sure that what we put out there as far as what the goals are, we want to make sure that our target market actually wants those things, right? So once we understand what their goals are and we can show how our products actually help them accomplish these goals in a type of lifestyle, I think then we're golden. Then we can influence them and we have that emotional connection and that trust.
Well, I think, there's a lot of people that say, yes, this is the result that I want. This is what I want to accomplish. But, and you mentioned this a few moments ago, they have fears, right? What do you see as people's biggest fears? I know you mentioned about, what if people don't like me or things like that, but you've helped a lot of folks overcome fears and obstacles around this. Well, what do you see as the biggest fears that people have about putting themselves out there as a coach?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about the fear of not being good enough and not being an expert, but we also see the fear of, what if I can't get results? What if I'm a fraud? I'm an imposter. I should not be, telling people I'm a coach because I've never helped someone before. How can I be certain that my clients will actually get results, right? How will they actually lose the weight? Will they actually make the money? So those are some fears in the beginning that come up for people when they're brand new and they haven't, experienced anything yet. And what we do is we, sort of help them look at their credibility markers again, look at their stories and their accomplishments, and draw out a path and draw out what I call a signature system. So our clients aren't charging by the hour. We're not selling time. We're not selling books. We're not selling any materials, really. We sell results. And so what we want to do is go to our audience and clients and say, listen, I have a signature system. I have a path that I've gone myself, or I've studied, or I've been doing this for the last 15 years in my career, and I've perfected this system. And if you just follow those steps with my support and the accountability I'll give you, you'll have those results that I've had to, right? And so they will trust in the system. They will trust in you holding them accountable. So we look at what people have done to have results, what they have mastered in their careers, what they have learned in school, for example, and we draw out almost like a map, because our clients go from point A to point B, and there's little milestones and mini accomplishments and changes they're making along the way, and we draw out that map and that path and those milestones with our clients, and it's, based on what they've done, what they know. And when they look at that, they can fill in the gaps and figure out, okay, what happens for this client to reach that milestone? What do they actually have to do? And that's how their coaching programs actually come to life. And when it's built that way, they gain confidence. They see this makes sense. I have a system. It's my system. It's unique. This is proven and tested because, by the way, I've done this before and I know it works. And that takes away a lot of the fear of, oh my God, what if I can't get results for people?
Yeah, and I guess that probably goes a long way in building that confidence, because people know they have. Well, I know that I have this information in my head, but how do I translate that into this system or into this coaching program? And that's what you help people, I guess, make that transfer of knowledge to be able to teach it, because that is a huge difference between having it in your head and then being able to share that to benefit people. What does that look like, that transfer of knowledge, when someone takes that information out of their head and puts it into a signature program?
Well, I like to think of modules or steps or phases. It may or may not have a specific timeline attached to it, but it's helping the client accomplish one thing at a time, step by step. So we're not throwing the entire system at them all at once. we slowly ease them into it. So, if you're thinking of a weight loss program, to give you an easy example, you probably want to start at the beginning with some easy changes, maybe a little bit more water, eating maybe more protein, more greens, eating less sugar. Then eventually we start to look at some habits that people have, and that makes it sustainable. That allows people to get results versus putting them on a diet that's too radical all at once, and they last a week and then they fall off. So we help our clients create these modules, and we will say this is module 1. This is potentially the first 4 weeks of what you will do with your client, and then you can meet with them once a week or once every 2 weeks. And they will figure out what needs to be accomplished in that first, let's say, 4 weeks, or maybe that's 2 weeks for the client to hit the first milestone. And then we build upon that, and then we go to module 2. So another example I can give you is for us, our 4-month program. We don't start with marketing because when our clients come in, they don't have anything to market yet. So we start by looking at their actual credibility markers and how we can create a signature system for them. We look at their brands, we look at their online presence, then we create a website with them, then we finish up the programs, and only then do we move into the marketing, and we teach them how to market themselves online, how to generate leads. Then we help them sell, master sales calls, hold sales conversations that, really convert, and then eventually help them make money. So it's very systematic, step by step by step. And that, that's the signature system. So it's modular based, and you're looking at a path again, and a map, maybe that makes more sense. So that's how we help our clients really extract that expertise and turn it into something that is sellable in the market.
And I guess that's a really important part of it, because what you talked about there is that it's more than just the actual knowledge, do this and do that. I guess there's those steps to help your client be successful along the way. Otherwise, you mentioned weight loss program. I guess that's why weight loss programs don't just consist of a 1-page document saying stop eating junk and do a sit-up, right?
Exactly.
that would be easy, but you got to, I guess, help them and provide that accountability or that support system along the way. And so you said, you don't start with marketing, and probably a lot of people think that that's the first thing I need to do. Hey, I want to be a coach. I better put up a website. But before they put that together, there's probably a lot of misconceptions and myths out there around, starting up a coaching program. What do you see as being the biggest myths or misconceptions out there that people think is the right way to do it, but it's really not?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many that come to mind. But I would agree with you. One of them is that people jump to marketing without actually having something to sell. There are so many, if you look around social media, so many people are promoting themselves in a certain way. And when you actually ask them, so what can I buy from you? They're really not sure. Or they're offering single sessions, 60 minutes of time, but there's really no purpose to it, and they can't sell it. So, jumping into marketing too soon, before you have a brand, before you know what makes you unique, you have a next problem-solving program to sell as a coach, doesn't make any sense. The other thing I often see is people really misunderstanding what marketing actually is. They think marketing means saying, come and buy from me. I have this, and this is how much it costs, and here's how you can buy it, and come and buy it. And that's not really what marketing is. That's sales. Marketing is creating relationships out there, creating trust, creating a reputation in the market so that people they start to love you, they start to associate you with a mission, which is your personal brand, which is, what you stand for. It's that lifestyle brand. And then once you have that relationship built and you have that visibility, then, with your systems and your sales process, you bring them on a sales call, you show them a website, you show them a sales page. There's different ways you can do it. But then, when that sales process kicks in, it says, okay, here's how you can have this, and here's how much it costs, and let's go and buy. But they jump into the sales way too soon. Another example, I have a big Facebook group. There's close to 7,000 people in it now. And once in a while, we will have new coaches join us. And many times what happens, the first thing they do, they jump in the group and they say, I have a sale today. It's 50% off. Buy this thing from me. Nobody knows them. We've never seen them before. And what happens? Crickets. No clicks, no comments, no likes, no buys, no nothing. And I, reach out to them and I'll say, I want to help you. First start with an introduction. People want to know who you are. They don't even know if they can trust you and if you're for real. So build that relationship first. So I guess that's one of the big problems. And then people get disappointed. They say, nobody likes me. Nobody wants to buy my stuff. And they're just really doing it wrong.
Yeah, you mentioned about how you see people out there putting themselves out there on social media and things, and then when you go to ask them what they have to sell, that they don't really have anything, or it's very shallow. Their program is about 2 inches deep, right?
Yeah.
And you said about it. You talked about establishing a personal brand before you start doing the marketing. And I know personal brand, there's a lot of different people probably have their own definitions of what personal brand means. But what do you see as the essentials of that personal brand so that when people do see you out there on social media and they want to learn more about you, that there's actually something out there for them to see?
For me, and maybe it's a little bit different for men and women, but for me personally, when I think of my personal brand, it's my reputation. It's what I stand for. It's what people think about me when they hear my name, or when they hear my programs, right? And it's really all about my values. So my personality style, whether I'm someone who is very, outgoing and straightforward, maybe I will be swearing on my videos, or whether I'm someone who is more laid back and maybe more introverted, right? And it's about, what I value is my integrity, what I'm passionate about, whether I'm honest, whether I'm transparent, whether I, make charitable donations. So millennials, for example, if that's your market, those people at that age really like companies who give to charity. They may not even work with someone who's not charitable. So, and not to make that up, you have to be who you are, but that's where your transparency comes in. So when you start to build that relationship in the market, you want to share with people what's important to you, and you want to be consistent. You want to be very consistent with who you are and how you show up. And, for us women, looks and style is part of it too. My personal brand, whether I'm a hippie or I'm walking around in high heels and a mini skirt in New York City, and I'm the city girl or the country girl or the tree hugger. So there's these different personas too, which is our expression. That's our soul expressing itself and what it is and how it wants to be seen. So that is that whole picture, my personality, my vibe, my mission, the way I speak, the way I show up, the way I look, even down to my hobbies, whether I'm into family, my preferences, whether I like to travel, what I do with my money, all of that plays into who we really are as people. So one thing, if you're a woman or a man, it doesn't matter, and you're not sure what that is for you and how you can stand out, it's a really good exercise to sit down and really write it down, journal it out. Who am I? What makes me unique? What are my values? How do I want to be seen? And maybe even ask your friends. When I was actually working in the corporate world a couple of years ago, I was a banker, right, of all things. So I would go into my banking job in a black suit. Sometimes I would wear a skirt, and I was very quiet. I wouldn't speak up, and I was sort of pushed into that box. Stay in your cubicle, don't act up, don't say anything, and just do your work and crunch your numbers, kind of thing. And I was in that job for a while, and I really lost myself. And then I had my babies, and then I lost myself even more because then I was just mom, and I really lost who am I as a woman? What makes me unique? And I had to find that again. And I think that can happen to men or women if we're, in that role for too long and that's not really who we are. So rediscovering that is a really exciting and freeing exercise and something that's really worth doing, whether you stay in that job or not.
I'm glad you brought that up because it makes me think of a probably a myth or a misconception that I see a lot of people when they get into putting themselves online or building a brand is they go and see, I need to become, before I get started or before I put my program out there, I need to become someone else. I need to become a person that I think my market wants to see. What do you see, or what is your advice between trying to become someone that you think your market wants versus really defining and being authentic about who you are and letting your market, your true market, find you that way?
Yeah. To me, I very much am a proponent of really just being who you are, because if you're not, it will show through. We all have this sort of internal guidance system that is our intuition. And if you've ever come across a person that you feel like, oh my God, he's fake, or he's acting up, or he's showing off, or that's not really her, or she's someone who she's really not. Human beings can sense that. They can naturally sense it. Even though they don't know what it is, they would say, oh, I don't like that person. Something's wrong with them. I just don't, they're not real. That's just something we can tell. So it doesn't work. If you're trying to be someone who you think people want you to be, it doesn't work. Plus, it's not going to feel good to you. I think it's going to cause dissonance inside of you. It's going to make you feel like you never know what to say. You're always nervous when you go on a podcast or a radio show or on video, because you feel like, you can't just say whatever comes out of your mouth. You have to be this perfect person or whatever, you think you need to be. So it's not good for you. It doesn't work out there in the market because people can smell it out. And it's not, for marketing, it's not necessary, because the most powerful way to market is when you are who you are, and you naturally attract people who really resonate with that and who are on the same wavelengths, and they agree with your values, and they really like you for who you are. It's that trust. I do so many videos for my business, and they're not always perfect. I will say some funny stuff sometimes, or I will just, forget whatever point I was going to make. And sometimes I'm not always, I don't have makeup on. And maybe some people would say that's not professional, but what I like is that the women that come to me say, Carolyn, I so love that you're authentic, and I really sort of think I know you, even though I've never talked to you before. I already feel like I can trust you, and I know you have kids, and I know you do this and this and this and that. And that's how I build my relationships, and I know that works. And it actually feels really good to me, because I don't have to worry about anything. I just show up the way I am, and people like it.
Well, I think that's probably one of the biggest factors that probably stops people is them thinking that they have to become someone else in order to be successful at that. So let's say someone is listening right now, and they say, I know I have this knowledge. I know I have this ability to help others. I just don't know how to get it out there. I can't quite figure out, what my credibility markers are. They not sure how to position themselves into that influence or build that personal brand. How can they, one, find out more about Carolin Soldo, and also the opportunities that you may have to help them figure that out?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, we have a website, and the website is www.carolin, Carolin, Soldo.com, CarolinSoldo.com. And we have a couple different ways that we can work with people. We have programs for completely new entrepreneurs. We have programs for women or men that have already been in business for a while and want to scale, want to maybe earn more, work less, hire a team, and get their business to the next level. So there's several different opportunities. And we have a website. We are also on Facebook. Just simply look for my name, Carolin Soldo. And we actually have a brand new workshop that we have created. And it's based on the system and the steps that I took in my own business, where I went from completely unknown. Nobody knew me. I left my corporate job, and I built my business to 6 figures in less than 12 months. So I had some really great success. And I looked back and I thought, what did I do? How did that work? And I've comprised this strategy, and that's in the workshop, and that's what I'm teaching. And if that's something that you're interested in, you can actually sign up for that workshop online. And the link is CarolinSoldo.com/passion.
Carolin, I've got to thank you for coming on and sharing this and the work that you're doing and the people you're helping. You're certainly an influencer in the fact that, helping people figure this out and put their business together and further their coaching career, their coaching business, but also the reach that you have in changing the lives of the people that these coaches are helping. It really spreads quickly when you're going that deep and helping people to help other people. So I want to thank you for coming on and sharing that today. It really has been eye-opening, and I think it's opened up opportunities for people that maybe thought that a coaching business was beyond their reach. So thank you so much for doing that.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Yes. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, fantastic. Folks, check it out. Definitely CarolinSoldo.com, CarolinSoldo.com. And we'll also have the links on the show post for Carolin's site and also for her workshop that she mentioned. And until next time on Influencers Radio, remember, you are the only real game changer.
You've been listening to Influencers Radio. To get all past shows and updates on future shows, visit influencersradio.com today or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/influencersradio.